So the verses that we're going to be discussing today are Surah Al Imran, verse 132 and verse 133. If you guys can please pull those up on your phones, gadgets, your personal Quran, something that can actually help you with the translation of the verses as well, so you can see how different translators have translated some of these words as well, and how we will be translating them today. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim wa bihi nasta'in. وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. And obey Allah and the Apostle so that you may be granted His mercy. His is in parenthesis. Alright, let's start this talk off with the first particular verse. Starts off with وَأَطِيعُوا إِطَاعَةً. This particular word is addressing not one person, but rather a group of people, the masses. A few verses before this in the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to those people who claim to have belief. He says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Okay. So this particular verse here, when it's addressing the masses, it's addressing who? It's addressing those people who already claim what? That they have Iman, that they have faith. He's saying, if you have faith, let me address you and tell you something. So, who is the audience for this particular verse? Well, it's me and you. Us who've gathered here claim that we have Iman. We are in that particular call for Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, refers to us as well here today. There is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking to us as a person now. Wa ati'u. So, ita'a. One time, I tell you that you have to wake up 3 a.m. to shovel snow on the driveway. Are you going to wake up and do that willingly and happily? Probably not. I tell you have to go back to back in a seminar and speak for a few hours straight. Okay? Imagine you were not prepared for that. Would you be really happy to come and sit in a seminar and speak for a few hours straight? Probably not. It wouldn't be a willing talk. Okay? Another time I tell you, we're going to go to your favorite restaurant. Okay? And you have time, you have nothing else to do as well. Would you accompany that particular friend of yours to the your favorite restaurant? Well, that particular ita'ah, that particular following of that particular invitation, right, is going to be done with what? With willingness. It's very different in nature from the shoveling at 3 a.m. or coming to speak in a seminar where you haven't been prepared, or going to write an exam in an exam hall if you're stuck and you didn't actually study that particular course. So ati'u, what's being asked of us? A fellowship a fellowship which is stemming from what? From desire. We want to actually submit. We want to actually listen and follow this command. Let's see why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks this type of obedience from mankind. Why is this particular type of obedience important? He could have just said, all I care for is obedience, period. Whether you willingly come towards this obedience or unwillingly come towards this obedience, all I'm interested in is the result, the final product. But that's not what he says. He says, I want you to willingly follow. Okay. If you claim faith, if you're part of the Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, then Ati'u. Ati'u who? Who does he say to follow? Ati'u Allah wa Rasul. Question here. Does the Rasul say anything other than what Allah says? No. So then what happens here? Is this Ar-Rasul here then something that is na'udhu redundant in the Holy Quran? It's an extra piece of information that we didn't really need? The Quran is a very different book than other texts that are out there. Non-divine texts, it's possible that they have certain words that are filler, that are redundant, that are not needed. If you took them out and replaced them with a similar word, the actual text would still hold true. The actual text wouldn't lose its merit, might even increase in its merit. Okay. The Holy Quran is a very different entity altogether. each and every word that is used in the Holy Quran and every mention in the order that it's mentioned in holds importance. For example, over here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have used the word Rabb instead of Allah. He could have said, do ita'at of your Rabb. He could have said, do ita'at of the Rahman. He could have said, do ita'at of the Jabbar. He could have introduced himself in many different ways. Yet he chose to introduce himself in a very specific way here. Ati'ul Allah. Now the question I asked you was that the Rasul isn't going to go against the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then what importance is held there in mentioning a Rasul? See, the Rasul was a physical, live person living amongst the people. Because he was a live person living amongst the people, right? They couldn't come and arbitrarily claim that they're following Allah while they end up doing that which they were doing previously. Okay? So if you're part of the Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, a simple claim towards Iman is not sufficient. To come and say that in my passport it says that I was born in X country, Y country, is sufficient for you to say that I'm Pakistani, for example. Okay? Or me holding a Canadian passport, it's sufficient for me to come and say, okay, I'm a Canadian citizen. Okay? But we don't have an external reason for claiming Iman for ourselves. It has to be something that is not from without, but rather from within. So this ita'ah, this willing surrender and willing obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And then, not just Allah, the specific commands that this one person in the community is giving to me, the Rasul is needed. Okay. So this Ar-Rasul shows to us that it's not willy-nilly up to us what we want to follow. And later on we can stick any sticker on that particular action and our particular lifestyle that we're having. We could do whatever we choose to do and later on say, you know what, this was all part of Iman. That's not the case. The ita'at has to be of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a very specific way. And the way that is prescribed and told to us by who? The Rasul. Why? The next word that we're looking at in that particular verse, if you see, is la'alla. This is a very special word that's used. See, when you do something and there's a result that associated with that particular action that you did. So if I was to tell you that, hey, I want to get fit, okay? Me wanting to get fit is my goal. If I say, okay, I'm going to the gym, la'alla, so I get fit. The effect is in line, reasonably speaking, with that which I'm hoping to do. If I go to the gym and I work out and I exercise, it's reasonable, it's ma'qul, it's very much possible, very real that I'll reach the effects of that, which is what? That I'll be healthier, I'll get more fit. This la'alla is saying that there's a relationship between this ita'ah and what's coming up. What's coming up isn't arbitrarily associated with this ita'ah. It's not like me saying, if you don't stop at a red light, I'll give you X number of fines. That quantity of the fine, if it was existentially linked to that particular problem that we were doing, that not stopping at the red light, right? And that's the particular relationship we're talking about here. This la'alla is saying that if you obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willingly, right? If you obey His Rasul in the specific manner that He decrees, then what will happen? لَأَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. What's turhamun here? You will receive His, in the brackets, mercy. Okay. What does rahma mean? When we typically ask somebody that, hey, can you please have mercy? Let's say a prison, somebody's in jail, okay? And they go to their judge and they say, please have mercy on me. What are they asking of the person? Is it just an emotional change? If a judge comes and says, oh yeah, I feel really sorry for you, but your sentence is still the same. Is that what the person is asking? Is mercy only an emotional thing in its essence? If you're walking down the streets and you see somebody who's a beggar and they're begging for some money, right? And they're saying, I desperately need some money to pay my bills. And I look at them and they say, you know what? I feel so merciful towards you. I feel so sad that you have this thing, and I keep walking by. Right? Have I shown mercy? Even the claim that I had this emotion within me, right, has that itself leads to that particular action that comes from outside too. Meaning what? When we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for mercy, when He's saying that you shall get His mercy, He is not saying that you will only get an emotional response or an emotional relationship going there between you and Him. No, there's something real for you to be had here. Okay. In the case of the person who was in the prison, basically going towards the sentence, and he was saying, have mercy. He was saying what? He said, I have a need, which is that I want to be free, and I want you to have mercy, and I want you to give me my need. In the Arabic language, we have a word called raham. What's raham? Raham is called a womb. It's where a fetus finds its needs. Okay? So when we're saying that we will attain Allah's mercy, what we're saying is that we will actually attain what? We will have our needs fulfilled. What type of needs do we have as a person? We have physical needs, the need to have a secure shelter, need for food, need for protection. We have intellectual needs, the need for knowledge, the need for vision, the need for a worldview, and we need these things. We have emotional needs, happiness, love, respect, and we have spiritual needs, the capacity to control our other faculties, our anger, our shahwa, and so on and so forth. So by obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Rasul in this specific manner, what His Rasul has told us, what do we call what His Rasul has told us? What is one word for it? It's the Sharia, the rulings, the regulation that the Holy Prophet has brought before us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The guidances that He's given to us. So if we follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through this very specific pathway of the Rasul, right? What is the guaranteed outcome that Allah is telling us about? Saying, if you follow these, I will guarantee certain things for you. You should follow these willingly, such that what happens for you? Your true needs are met. You're following Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to actually have your needs met. There's a real relationship between this obedience and yourself. Remember the example we said? We said that if you were invited to go to your favorite pizza store with a friend, how would you go? And well, you would go willingly, right? That willingness comes from what? Because there's a real connection between you and in that particular store, and that is your favorite store, right? You have a desire to eat that pizza, let's say, and this particular pizza store offers that, and there's something in it for you. Now that's what pulls you towards going willingly. So this ita'ah that's happening here between us and these commandments, where we're willingly following the commands of Allah and willingly following the Rasul in this very specific manner, right? There's actually an outcome to that, which is what? That my needs are being met. Salawat, please. The next verse that we're looking at starts off with something very interesting. It says, وَسَارِعُوا. Sari'u is what? It means to hasten, to speed up. He's not saying start. Why isn't he saying start? Remember a few verses ago he said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. You already are claimants that you have iman. So now what is he telling you? He said, if you already claim that you have iman, let me tell you something. Pick up the pace. Pick up the pace in what exactly? What was the last verse telling us? It's saying, obey willingly. Obey willingly what? To who? Obey willingly. Give willing obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Rasul. You who have faith, you're already doing this particular thing. If that's the case, my next guidance to you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, is what? وَالسَّارِعُ. Speed up. At whatever speed you're going at, right? If you can go faster than that, do go faster than that. So if somebody was stopped entirely, somebody wasn't even in the realm of faith and iman, you wouldn't tell them sari'u. Okay? You tell them start. In this particular case, Allah addressing the masses, the people who have iman, He's saying what? Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. That's the siyaq of these verses. And here He comes and says, وَأَتِيُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. He says, وَالسَّارِعُ. Speed up now. Okay. Speed up in what? In this ita'at. So what is He telling us to speed up towards now? He's now comparing that rahmah, like saying لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. He's saying that so you reach this your needs being fulfilled. He's comparing it in different ways, explaining that in different ways now. Speed up. Why? Towards what? Ila what? What is the word that comes after that? Ila maghfiratin. But now He's saying this rahmah that is supposed to be one of the effects of ita'at of Allah and the Rasul, right? He's saying speed up towards, and He claims this rahmah to be something a little bit different. Ila maghfiratin. Okay. What did we say rahmah was? Rahmah was something that maintained your needs. Basically, your needs start to become fulfilled. And that's what we said that rahmah that there particularly meant. Now, what's maghfirah? Ghafara is similar to satara. Satara means what? It's to cover. Okay? What's ghafara? It's a special type of covering. Ghafara also means to cover, but it's a covering by which you're covering the defects, and then from within the covering, the traces of those defects are being destroyed, such that those defects don't exist anymore. This is maghfirah. When I say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, forgive me, I'm saying, please, out of your mercy, cover my defect, and don't just cover it so it's hidden, don't just sweep it under the rug. No. Cover my defect in such a manner that the effects of those defects on my existence are taken away. So you're really asking Allah for a miracle. When you're saying, Allahumma ghafirli or al-af, if you're using the word ghafara, really, you're asking Allah for a miracle. And Allah responds, He says, if you call upon me and you made a mistake, you've brought into existence an action. If you beg me as your creator for forgiveness, for the special type of ghafara, I will cover you. And I'll give you the special covering where I will take the effects of this existence away from you. I will separate you from your own creation. You created this sin, and its effect should have been on you, on your person. But what I will do is, I will cover you and take its existential effects away from you. Then He reminds us, who is this covering from exactly? He's saying, don't try to fool me, huh? Why? Who am I? This ghafara is from who? It's from your Rabb. What is a Rabb? A Rabb is someone who sustains and nurtures you. So, this nurturing actually starts from before you were even born. Parents are called Rabbayani Saghira, the small Rabbs. To understand this word, let's look at what parents do. Before a child is coming into this world, they set out the room for the child, they make sure the child's clothes are there, they make sure that the child's food is there, they make sure that the needs of the child are met, they put the home security system so the corners are covered and so on and so forth. So they're preparing that particular place before the child even comes. And then when the child comes, they're making sure that they take care of the child there too, giving them their needs and so on and so forth at every level. The amount of attention a newborn needs is different than the amount of attention a teenager needs, and the parents try to give the right amount of attention at the right time. Because they have this quality about them, they're sustaining the child at every level. They're called what? They're called Rabbs. but smaller rubs. Okay. So when Allah is saying, I'm going to cover this mistake of yours, I'm going to enter you, sari'u ila maghfiratin, speed up towards maghfirah from your Lord, from your Rabb. He's saying the person who's been sustaining you from before till now. You went against him and you committed a mistake. He knows exactly how to cover you if you truly come to him. And guess what? He's your Rabb. He knows if you've truly come to him or not. So if we truly come towards our Rabb and seek for this maghfirah, this particular covering of our defects and taking away our defects, what does that mean? If I'm truly somebody who's saying, I want to get fit, and I show up to the gym, is that enough? Do I just show up, enter the doors, and just look around and walk back home and I'm going to get fit? If I show up once a month, that's it. Look around and go back home. Am I going to get fit? Probably not. So this maghfirah, he's saying, hasten towards this maghfirah in a realistic manner, not in just a superficial or apparent manner. So if you want these defects to be covered, then hasten towards, what was the first thing that he was telling us towards? The ita'ah. Willingly submit to Allah and His Rasul. And then if you make mistakes, after willingly submitting, then it's okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that if you continuously strive towards Him, then He will grant you that. He'll grant you maghfirah.